I'm trying to make $125,000 before New Year's 2026 playing poker to pay off my student debt. So far, we're winning small in the challenge, but we have the chance this episode to build a ton of momentum because we are playing in some off-the-rails, splashy private games up in the Northeast. If you're new here, come sit down, relax, make yourself comfortable by hitting the like and subscribe button down below, and get ready for a wild night of action. As summer turns into fall, I'm taking one last trip with my buddies up to a lake house in New Hampshire. We're soaking up the sun and we get to see some rare wildlife up close. I'm not sure what you call this species, but it's pretty scary up close. Couple buddies and I enjoy splashing around in the lake, getting some good barbecue, listening to some live music. There were a few fish swimming around in the lake up there, but not as many as there are down in Salem, New Hampshire at Chaser's Poker Room. This may be the room that I've put the most hours into, so I'm super excited to get on the list for 1-3 and hop right into the game. I'm in for $500. And our first hand of note, we're under the gun with pocket queens, queen of hearts, queen of clubs. I'm raising it up to $15. A young vlog watcher in the big blind puts in the call, so we're going heads up to a flop, which comes out 10, 7, 5, all spades. He checks on over to me. I don't have a spade, but I still decide to put out a small bet. He decides to stick in the call, and he's actually going to lead on the 4 of diamonds. He goes for about 1/3 pot. I think our hand is strong enough to continue here, so I flick in the call, and we see the board pairing 4 of hearts on the river. Happy to see no more spades coming out. Our opponent keeps his foot on the gas with a bet of $35. I've got queens, bro. If you got it, you got it. I stick in the call, and he says the magical words, "You're good." So we turn our hand over, and we'll be scooping in the first pot of the day. For our next hand, there's a middle position limp. The low jack has ISO'd up to $12, and we peel ace king of diamonds in the cutoff. I make it $45 to go. The low jack is the only caller. So we're heads up seeing a flop of 10-7-4 rainbow. We have the backdoor royal flush draw, so when he checks on over to me, I decide to use a half pot sizing for $45. He actually thought about this decision for about 2 minutes before folding, so pretty sure we made better hand hit the muck here. Smooth sailing so far here at Chasers, hoping to keep sailing right along, as in our next hand, the under the gun player, who I know quite well, has raised up to $20, and I have pocket nines next to act. I think Ethan is going to be opening wide enough here for me to put in the 3-bet up to $65. Unexpectedly, the small blind is going to crash the party with a cold call, and Ethan's putting in the money as well. So we're going 3 ways off to a flop with nearly $200 in the middle, and it's a dreamy one. Jack, 9, 6 rainbow. We have middle set. We're multi-way. The small blind checks. Ethan checks to us. We're looking to pile money in as fast as we can. I bet out for $80 here. This is just a misclick. Wanted to go about half pot, but miscalculated the size in game. No harm, no foul, though, as Ethan puts in the call. There's $355 in the middle on the turn, and we see a rainbow king roll off. There's no world where I'm behind here, I don't think. I'm praying Ethan has just made 2 pair, kings and jacks. There's $355 in the middle. We have about $500 left to play for. So I decide to size up, looking to jam the river as I bet $215, about 2/3 the size of the pot. Ethan thinks for ages and eventually folds what he would later tell me was ace-jack. We'll be scooping in another pretty nice pot here. Unfortunately, a few minutes later, a player changed to our table and requested that we stop filming. So a bit annoying. Here is a live recap of the first orbit I played off camera. Player complained who just moved to the table. So the floor shut our filming down, even though we got approval. I'm not really sure what's going on there. And the next orbit goes like this. Open a 15, call, call, call. I peel black deuces in the big blind. I stick in $15. Queen, 4, deuce. Check, check, $20. I make it $75. He shoves for $150. I call, he has pocket 4s. Couple hands later, $6 straddle is on, a limp for 6, open to 20. I have red pocket kings in the big blind. The straddle's on. I make it 100. Folds back to the initial raiser. He bangs it for 500. I snap. He has ace king, ace on the turn. So that is about So that's about 700 in an orbit or so. Set over set, and then ace. King over kings. So take a little walk and we'll get back in there and battle of it. Those 2 hands, paired with the fact that I can't record, puts me on crazy amounts of tilt. We decide that it's time to rack up and just leave, booking a loss. But the night's not over there. We've played for a long time, so we're pretty hungry. We go and have a nice dinner. At the end of which, my friends Hayden, Ethan, and I decided it's a good idea to flip for the bill. We're playing a game called Croc. If you're unfamiliar, you press down on one of 20 crocodile teeth, one of which is the bad tooth, which will close his mouth, and you'll be on the hook for the bill. Good luck us. Let's watch how it panned out.
Bing bong. Oh shit. Oh, it's getting real. Oh my god.
I never win this ever.
It's getting real, dude. Oh my god.
Tired, tilted, and on the hook for the bill, our night was semi-saved by a vlog watcher, very nice guy at the restaurant. But unfortunately for us, we're feeling pretty low, pretty defeated. But you know what they say, there's only one way to get it back. All right, guys, welcome back to the vlog. We're sitting in rush hour traffic here because I am driving up to a private game in New England, hosted by my friend Dookie Betts. Cable Poker is also going to be there, and a few other fun, action, and pretty good players that are going to be there. So it's going to be a fun environment, going to be very splashy. It's a 1-2 game, but I will bet a lot of money that the 5, the 10, maybe the $20 straddles are going to be on. It's going to be a bit of a juicy game. Very excited for it. So we're doing this student debt challenge, and I'm just going to be honest, it's not going really the way that I'd like to. It's pretty swingy. We're up just a little bit. We've been doing this thing lately where we win on camera and lose off camera. We, of course, are going to be making a vlog tonight, so hopefully that brings us a little bit of run good. Wish us luck, and hopefully this traffic can clear up soon. We get to the game, we see some friends there, Dookie Betts and K-Boule Poker. He made me this sweet custom Diet Coke bottle. We buy in for $1,000. It's not gonna stay that little for long. This game is super action. People constantly going all in with hands that probably shouldn't. So good luck us. Our first hand of the night, the $10 straddles on. I'm in the cutoff with red pocket nines. I'm gonna raise it on up to $30. The small blind calls, and now the big blind decides to squeeze up to $110. I didn't drive all the way up here to fold pocket nines in position. I flick in the call, as does the small blind. So we're going 3 ways off to a flop, which comes out 10-7-3 with 2 clubs and a heart. The flop quickly checks around, and we see the deuce of hearts hit the turn. Brings in 2 flush draws, and now the big blind is going to decide to delayed c-bet for $100. It's about a quarter pot. I could see an argument for letting it go here, but I just had to flick in the call. I think the big blind is going to bet a lot of his stronger hands on the flop, and I think if the small blind had us beat, he would probably just lead out on the turn. But perhaps our read is off because the small blind is now going to wake up with a check raise up to $350. You can see in my face, I just don't believe him. So even though half the rivers in the deck are kind of bad for us, I decided to stick in the call here and see what happens on 5th Street. Around $1,200 in the middle, and the river is the 5 of clubs. The most obvious draw has just gotten there, and he doesn't waste much time before moving all in for about $500. I don't waste much time in folding. You can see I'm a bit annoyed with the river, but not as annoyed as I'm about to be because the small blind's going to turn over his cards and show us that he had the 6-7 of hearts. So he picked up the backdoor flush draw to go along with his second pair and decided to turn it into a bluff on the turn. I'm a little steamed up from this. I reach back in my bag to add on some more chips, and I reach back behind me to grab my hoodie. It's time to lock in. You can see this game is plenty action, and the pots are only going to get more wild from here. Speaking of wild hands, this next one is pretty much off the rails. I have ace-10 of diamonds under the gun. I'm raising it on up to $15. The cutoff is going to call, as is this small blind, before the big blind is going to wake up with a raise up to $90. Normally, big blind 3-bets are pretty nutted, but with the straddle on, the big blind's not last to act, so he may be getting in there a little bit wider. As a result, I decide to turn my hand into a bluff and 4-bet up to $250. Looking to fold out some better ace-high combos and some middling pocket pairs that have some good equity against us. It seems the big blind has a real hand because he sticks in the call, so we're going heads up in position in a 4-bet pot with over $500 in the middle. And it comes out pretty good for us. It's king-king-3 with 2 diamonds. We have the nut flush draw. The big blind checks on over to us, and on these paired Broadway flops, especially king high, we just get to have such a big range advantage. So I decided on a small bet of $55. The big blind doesn't waste too much time before calling, so we're off to see a turn, which is the 10 of hearts. I think when we go so small on the flop, he's not going to fold too much. So there are some hands we pick up showdown value against, like pocket nines or ace queen of spades, but I decided to keep my foot on the gas with a bet of $200, looking to pressure hands like queens and jacks. The big blind thinks for a while before deciding once again to stick in the call. And the river comes out the delicious Queen of Diamonds. So we get there and make the nut flush. Big blind is going to reach for chips and lead into us for $450. You can see on my face, I'm pretty perplexed by this. Not quite sure what kinds of hands want to lead the river after check calling the flop and check calling the turn. For hands we lose to, there's one combo of quads, 3 combos of pocket 10s and pocket queens, 1 combo of king 10 suited, although I'm not sure how likely that is, 2 combos of king queen suited, so that's about 9 or 10 combos that beat us, but there are still 6 combos of ace king, 2 combos of king jack suited, as well as 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, and 6, 5 of diamonds for possible flushes. When we think about what we want to bluff here, I think the 3 combos of ace queen offsuit with the ace of diamonds make the most sense, blocking flushes and full houses. And we don't have to bluff super often here because we're not going to have so many hands to value shove. I'm probably only value shoving flushes and full houses. But I do think our particular combo is far too strong not to shove. After a little while of thinking, I decide to move the rest of my chips in. The big blind doesn't snap call. It's a really strange spot because the big blind only has to call 600 more to win a pot that would be about 3,200. But after about 90 seconds, the big blind decides to let it go. Not sure what he could have had, but I'm not complaining as we're scooping in this over $2,500 pot. You love to see it. We get a beautiful run out and we're feeling pretty good. Our stack is heading in the right direction, but the stacks are deep at this table. Things could change at any moment, so we have to stay focused, keep trying to play our A game, and hopefully we can scoop in some more big pots like this. I mentioned the stacks are getting big, the stakes are getting big too, as in this hand the $40 straddle is on. We're on the button with ace jack of spades and decide to raise it up to 120 here. The small blind, who goes by the name of Action Ben, lives up to that title with a 3-bet up to $400. It folds back around to us. We start the hand about $1,000 effective. That's 25 big blinds for all you math geniuses out there. I definitely don't have a lot of experience playing 25 big blind poker, but I'm pretty sure in a poker tournament, I would just pure get it in here for 25 big. So I decide to move all in. Action Ben looks a little bit pained. It looks like we might be ahead if he calls, but after a while of thinking, he decides to let it go. Definitely not going to be complaining about some variance-free money. We get to pick up what is normally a 2-5 buy-in without even looking at a flop, and life is good. After that hand, our stack looks a little bit like this, but our chips don't have too long to pose for pictures because we're playing another hand pretty quickly. Our friend Dookie Betts has raised the cutoff up to $20. I'm in the $5 straddle with ace of clubs, 9 of hearts, and decide to flick in 3 red chips for the call. It's a vlogger versus vlogger showdown as we see Jack 9-7 with 2 clubs hit the flop. I check it on over to Dookie. He bets $20, around half pot. Second pair, top kicker, backdoor club draw, not going anywhere. I stick in the call. $80 in the middle, and we see the queen of clubs roll off. We pick up the nut flush draw, and I decide to check it one more time as Dookie sizes up now for $60 into 80. I think there's a decent chance we're ahead here. He will be opening pretty wide from late position, and even if we're not, we do have some outs to improve, so I decide to stick in the call once again. $200 in the middle, and we see the ace of spades roll off. My original intention was going to be to check the river, and if he bet, probably check shove and represent clubs. But now that we've made 2 pair, it does seem like our hand could win a decent amount at showdown, so I decided to check once more. For very nerdy reasons, Dookie decides to bet $142, and I pretty much just snap him off. He announces 2 pair, I say me too, and we find out that we have just rivered him because he had queen 9 offsuit. So he got there on us on the turn, we re-got there on him on the river, and we're scooping in this very nice pot. Dookie dollars just feel like they're worth more than regular dollars. Mid-session update from Kyle's laundry room. First of all, obscene amount of laundry. Second of all, this game is off the rails. I have like 3,500 in my stack. There's maybe $20,000 on this table. This is supposed to be a 1-2 game. The 40's on almost every orbit. It's pretty nuts. I need to play well and run well. If we do, we could win like 5K in this 1-2 game if we run above average. So wish us luck. This next hand is a super interesting one. It starts with a low jack raised to $25, a hijack, and a cutoff call, before the small blind is going to 3-bet squeeze up to $150. Now I'm in the $5 straddle and I haven't looked at my hand yet, and before I even get the chance to look down at what I have, the big blind is moving all in for around $1,150. While this action may seem crazy, I do have to tell you we are playing the duck game, aka the bounty game, where if a player wins 3 hands in a row, everyone at the table has to pay him $25. And the big blind in this hand has 2 ducks in front of him, which means if he wins, he gets an additional $200 in bounty money. So I don't think that shove is actually that strong. So when I look down at my hand and I peel pocket queens, we are in an absolute dream spot. I'm about $2,500 effective with the small blind. It does get a bit uncomfortable if we move all in and the small blind wakes up and calls behind. The queens is just far too strong here to do anything but send the rest of my stack in. Fortunately for us, the small blind didn't wake up with it this time. So we're going heads up off to 2 runouts in a pot that's worth $2,500. We're up against pocket 10s. Can we hold? Queen on the flop of the first board. Our opponent is drawing dead on the turn there. Second board, the flop looks safe. The turn looks safe. And we make an unnecessary second set on that river as well. An absolute dream spot for us to scoop in this $2,500 pot. Honestly, a bit of a cooler with the bounty game on. I'm sure the big blind will be getting involved with far worse holdings than pocket 10s. With that pot, our stack crosses over the $4,000 mark, but we're not done just yet. We pick up this next hand in progress. I have raised King Jack of Diamonds in the cutoff to $15. K-Boule Poker on my left has 3-bet me up to $45. We get a cold call from the small blind and the big blind. I decide to flick in $30 and see a flop. $180 in the middle, and the 4 of us see queen 4-3 rainbow, and it checks all the way around, and we pick up one of our draws when the ace of hearts hits the turn. It checks on over to us. I wouldn't hate starting to bluff our hand, but I get a little coy and decide to check in game. Kyle's gonna stab for $50. The small blind and the big blind are both going to call. It's back on us. It's $50 to call to play a pot that would be about $400 on the river. We probably only have 4 outs to improve, but we're pretty much sun running tonight. Why wouldn't we get there on the river? I flick in the call, and of course, Sean puts out the 10 of hearts. Absolute bink. We make the nuts. It checks on over to me, and I think I should probably just check here. But Kyle's pretty steamed up, and the big blind player actually has 2 buttons, so I think they're probably going to be paying off a little bit lighter than normal. These guys don't really like to fold anyways. So I decide to bet out, and I bet out very large, overbetting the size of the pot for $625. I'm not a fan of this play at all. Looking back, I think check shoving is probably best, but in game I felt like Kyle was going to check back a lot 4 ways. I know at least someone here has top pair, maybe even 2 pair, so I decided to go for this lead exploitatively, trying to get paid. I think if I am going to lead, I should choose a much smaller size, as it's just super hard to bluff here for this size. Kyle actually ends up hitting the tank very hard for over 2 minutes with what he would later tell me was ace-jack. So maybe if Kyle had a hand like ace-king or 2 pair, we would get paid here. But again, I'm not a big fan of this sizing. The small blind and big blind pretty quickly get out of the way after Kyle folds. So we're scooping in another big pot, but pretty disappointed in how I played the river. We're gonna play for a couple more hours after this, nothing too interesting, before eventually the game breaks and we get to rack up a huge win.
Wow. What an insane night of action. What was supposed to be a 1-2-5 game pretty quickly turned into a 2-5-10, and the $20 and $40 straddles were on. I think the 80 even got on a few times, which is insane. We knew this kind of game was going to be super swingy, and just super happy that we were able to end up on the right side of it. I don't think I played super well, but ran pretty hot towards the end there. The results will be up on your screen right now. In for $2,500, out for $5,115. So very nice profit on this session, a little over $2,600. Needed a bounce back session. We got it in a very big way. I think it's time for a celebratory soak. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.
We unwind from the session with a hot tub soak with our friend Dookie Betts before it's time to head to bed. Before the next morning, we have some fun taking our friend's boat out on the harbor. Overall, it was a nice relaxing weekend, resetting from the stresses of the student debt challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next few videos I release are going to be from a 5-5-10 live stream game. A couple of you guys have been telling me to play slightly bigger stakes, and this game plays absolutely massive. Speaking of huge games, Dookie Betts and I are taking a trip out to Dallas, Texas, where everything's bigger. The stacks, the pots, and hopefully the wins will be even bigger out there. So keep an eye out for some Dallas poker vlogs coming your way pretty soon. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.